What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon GO Battle League content. In today's video, we are taking a look at an Ultra League team. If your opponent has Feraligatr, they lose. This team is incredibly strong, just on paper at least, and it's coming to us from fellow content creator here on YouTube, Mr. Tamagotchi, so thank you for the battle submission. Apparently, this team is centered around slapping around Feraligatrs, and if you've been playing Ultra League at all this season, and even last season, you'll know that they are literally on every other team. So let's take a look at these battles here in the Ultra League and see how Mr. Tamagotchi pilots this team. Right away, dude, Guzzlord is just doing good. The opponent is not even swapping out, which tells me that they are weak in the back to the Gator. But oh no, he throw on alignment and the opponent's able to catch on a Clefable. But let me tell you, if your opponent save swaps Clefable, they're about to have a bad time. Now, Tentacruel, I mentioned in my last video with the Ultra League where we had a Drapion. It was a triple XL team. This is a pretty reasonable down grade of XL, so you don't want to have something as XL. Like Guzzlord is not an XL Pokemon. Golisopod is not an XL Pokemon, and both of them do very, very well in the Ultra League meta. So this could be a good alternative to that team if you would prefer to run. I mean, I think Guzzlord's fine as well. I've been using Guzzlord in the Ultra League for several seasons now, and the thing is absolutely cracked. Like, it's always been really good on teams that I've used with it, so I can highly recommend any team with Guzzlord. The opponent having Zapdos, by the way. Respect the spice, dude. I remember during Shadow Charizard season when Zapdos was actually really fun. But now that we have the opponent's entire team laid out in front of us, Tamagotchi goes ahead and sends in the Guzzlord, knowing that the entire rest of this team is weak to it. And the opponent's going to have to throw a Thunder Punch in order to try to knock out, but the Guzzlord is going to hang on, make the opponent throw another one. Now he can easily save 2 shields here for either Pod or Tentacruel, and I don't really think there's... I don't know how you lose this game, man. The opponent didn't even have the Feraligatr, but being that terribly core broken by Guzzlord, I do completely understand. Opponents just running spice. They got Shadow Zapdos, Shadow Typhlosion, and a Clefable. Like, I get it. It's completely spicy, but... opponent's going to go for the Drill Peck. Tamagotchi says, I don't need to shield nothing. I don't need to shield anything. Drill Peck doesn't even knock out the Tentacruel. The opponent's going to come in with the Typhlosion and get jabbed down, and that's going to be a good first game. Well played. Man, just Guzzlord, like, when it's good, it's so good. And speaking of being so good, in the next game, we have a Shadow Ampharos on the lead, and the opponent is once again staying in. Unless they are going to hit with a Focus Blast, they don't even build up to the Focus Blast. All right, let me just say real quick, if you are ever the Ampharos in this situation, always build up to 5. I guarantee you probably get a shield from your opponent. At that point, you can decide if you want to swap out or if you want to try and build up back again to 5. But what building to 5 allows you to do is, even if you don't have it, it fakes Focus Blast, which is still going to be something the opponent needs to respect if they want to be able to maintain this good matchup. And I guarantee you in Tamagotchi's shoes, he would have shielded because he's got double water in the back. Ampharos destroys this back line. But the Guzzlord's able to take care of it. The opponent has a Talonflame, and Tamagotchi's going to save switch into the Tentacruel here and absorb the energy off this Talonflame. Guzzlord, like, the opponent's best answer after the Ampharos went down was to come in with the Talonflame. That means that whatever they have in the back is also probably pretty weak to Guzzlord, and it's a pretty safe pivot out. Especially, the other thing, too, is the opponent had an Electric in the lead, meaning they're probably weak in the back to Water, because they were using their back line as a way to cover for Ampharos, and Ampharos subversely was supposed to cover for them. So I guarantee you that whatever we see in the back is probably weak to this Tentacruel. The opponent has the Feraligatr, and that means that they have lost the game. Tamagotchi's looking to go for that Sludge Wave, and he's committing to the Sludge Wave. This is nah. Golisopod, you can take the bench on this one, buddy. We're going for the Sludge Wave. That's going to do massive damage to the Feraligatr. Opponent has no more shields to hide behind, and that's going to nearly knock him out. Going for the little brutal swing, just as a little. This is a little present for the road. Guzzlord saying, "Get out of here. Go. Good job, Golisopod. Good job." Hanging out with his cheers, pom-poms in the back. We got Guzzlord and a Malamar, another great lead. Golisopod also would do very well here if it had X-Scissor, but since it does not, you'd have to be cautious. Those frame drops, dude! Oh, I've only heard the stories that this latest Android update has just destroyed the game as far as being able to play without frame drops, dude. That's just ridiculous. Now, the question is, do we go for the shield here, or do we call the move? We do get the superpower shielded up properly, and now going into the Golisopod to absorb the second debuffed superpower. Very nice call here by Tamagotchi. Opponent has double superpower debuffs here and is staying in, and then they're going to come in with a Tentacruel. Now, Golisopod does okay here, but Tentacruel overall is very neutral into this team, so it can be trouble if the opponent finds himself in a situation where they're maybe up shields. Now, I like this liquidation here, just kind of going for the defense drop chance. You usually only maybe try this once when you have a nice energy lead, and then you just start going for the neutral damage afterwards. Looks like no debuff this time around. The opponent has the Scald. They're going to go for it, and the opponent is going to end up having to go for a little bit more energy because the switch clock is misaligned because of that superpower. So Guzzlord's going to be able to get some damage off here and get the shield from the Tentacruel, and the opponent comes in with the Malamar that they have that superpower banked. Tamagotchi's going to let it go. Superpower does massive damage, but it's not enough to knock out Guzzlord. Guzzlord is hanging on by that thick HP stat that it's got, and it's going to throw a Brutal Swing into a Kanto Muck. This is interesting, and the reason why is because this thing has Thunder Punch, and it core breaks the backline a bit with that Thunder Punch. So with that farm, it might actually be a lot of trouble for Tamagotchi to come back from this game. We'll see how much this Thunder Punch even does. Never mind, I'm not even worried anymore, dude. That Thunder Punch doesn't even... Dude, it didn't even tickle. It didn't even tickle. It just went tink. Here, have a Thunder Punch. Look at this. Tink. Barely did any notable damage here, unfortunately. I was actually kind of scared of the Muck. I know it's not stab damage. Oh, he's letting it get so low, dude. I am so scared for this man right now. I'm out of my mind. I know you have to save the shield for the Thunder Punch, but we are so close to just getting knocked out right now. Is there a move on that Golisopod, or can we even get to a move? That's what's going to really come down to here. Golisopod's in the back, and the opponent decides not to shield. Why don't we shield? Are we calling an Acid Spray, maybe? I don't know, but good game. We take those. Take those. It all happened so fast I didn't have a chance to see if the Golisopod was going to get to a move, but we got another Typhlosion in the lead in this next game. This one is not a Shadow. Opponent has two Alright. We just safe swapped to Guzzlord, and as you all know, in typical Felrose fashion, I have to call this trainer out. Why? No. Never. I mean it, trainers. Do not safe swap things with double weaknesses that are walled by certain types. Okay? Even though the Guzzlord has Sludge Bomb, it does not matter because there's just no amount of play. Like, if Tamagotchi's got a Fairy type, he full farms the Guzzlord down and does just literally nothing the opponent can do about it. And that is just a very dangerous situation to be in. Now, in this case, I don't know, man. Maybe they're just really broken by the Guzzlord. I don't know I don't obviously know the team yet, but it's just a general statement of don't do that thing, because that thing never works out for you. And in this case, my goodness, the Thunder Punch doesn't knock out. That does just... Oh my goodness, that does so little damage. I know it's Guzzlord and it's a non-Shadow Typhlosion, but still. The Typhlosion is going to be able to hit for some good damage on the way out, but opponent has the Gator. Do they respect the Sludge Wave? I don't know that they do. I don't know that they do. Going for the Sludge Wave. Opponent not respecting it. In comes the Golisopod. And the opponent going for... if this isn't Crunch, then it's over. And most Gators are not running Crunch. Hydro Cannon not going to do much to the Golisopod. Opponent going for another move, hoping for their prayer to be answered, as this Gator needs to put the whole team on its back in order to take this game, but instead they concede. That's going to be a good game well played. This team is just dogging all over people, dude. This is crazy. Guzzlord in a Talonflame. Why am I not playing? I should play Guzzlord. I should just... Dude, safe swap the Feraligatr. Oh, trainer. Oh, trainer. Trying to catch that Ice Beam, but unfortunately, opponent was a little bit more patient in this case and unable to go for that catch. Now, I would have probably thrown a move into the Guzzlord first, or with the Guzzlord into the Feraligatr first. We have two really solid options to Talonflame in the back. I think it would have been better to at least get the damage off. That way, even Golisopod could like come out with liquidation or something. Opponent's going to be able to go for Hydro Cannon, and they can flip switch. Not that it matters here, but they might be under the illusion that they need to flip switch. So this will be an interesting thing to see what the opponent decides to do here. They do decide to let it go. Tamagotchi's immediately going to go into the Tentacruel here, knowing that either there's a Talonflame coming in or something else that doesn't much care for it. Now, this is dangerous. That is a Cobalion that just swapped in, and Cobalion has an incredible amount of play into the rest of this team because of that Steel typing. But never mind, we got the Scald debuff. What are we worried about? Man, I wish I could get Scald debuffs like that when it mattered. I get the debuffs when the opponent gets knocked out. That's when I get my debuffs. Goodness gracious. We going for the Scald. There is no Acid Spray or Blizzard here, so all we go for is Scald. No need to worry about trying to bait. Opponent's going to be shielding up. And they get another debuff? Are you kidding me? Bro! Attempted catch on Golisopod. You know what? The way that that game's going for the opponent probably should have happened that way. My goodness, those debuffs are crazy. Go get another one. Get another one. Okay. All right. Now, it's not supposed to work that way. Oh, man. I get jealous whenever anybody else gets a debuff. If you guys watch me on my streams, which we stream 2 to 3 times a week here on the channel, Go Battle League, y'all have seen my streams. You know why I'm so angry. Because this game loves to mess with me. And now, do we call a bait or do we shield? I think we have to. No, we call it the Stone Edge, but is it enough? We have 2 moves. Is it going to be enough? Because the opponent can just go for Sacred Swords now. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. Dragon Claw. Not quite there, but I think a Dragon Tail plus a Dragon Claw, maybe a couple Dragon Tails will be enough here. Sacred Sword does a ton of damage into the Guzzlord, but thankfully the opponent not going to need to worry at this point about landing a Sacred Sword because there's still a shield in play. And Guzzlord can just go now. Now it can just go for the Dragon Claw now and it just wins. Going for the farm down or something. I don't know what's going. I don't know. Over tap. Android's very good at frame drop over tapping, but we're gonna go for the Dragon Claw and take out the Cobalion. That's gonna be a good game. Well played. Cobalion's really interesting in this meta. I don't see it nearly as much as I expect, but like it does pretty well when it needs to, right? Guzzlord into Dragonite, not a great lead, but you kind of have to stay in. But usually Dragonites will end up having that Feraligatr in the back, and the opponent tries to go for the CMP tie, and that's a huge advantage for the Guzzlord here, as now Guzzlord can just simply farm down the Dragonite and not have to worry about shielding a second time. And the opponent has Drapion in the back, and this is what the case is usually for Dragonite leads, is there's usually a water type like Feraligatr in the back, and some sort of safe switch, if it's not the Gator, that is typically going to be weak, to the things that, you know, we have in the back. So, this is probably going to be Raps, man, at this point. Crunch, not even close to being enough. If you are going to use a Drapion in the Ultra League, I heavily recommend going for a Shadow. I've both built. I built a normal because I was thinking I was clever and saving dust, and I regretted that decision immediately. I've literally used that Drapion for 3 games, right when I built it, and I have not since wanted to use it ever since. It feels like it's a wet noodle, especially when you've compared it to the Shadow. But understandably, that may not be the case for some, is that may be all you have, and if it is, then that's all right. But if you have the option, definitely go for Shadow Drapion. Anyway, terrible matchup for Golisopod, but honestly, this is pretty okay for the rest of the game, as the Guzzlord is still alive with a little bit of HP, and all we have left in the back is Drapion, which, I mean, at this point, it's in range of getting Poison Jab down. And Guzzlord is going to do just fine here when it needs to. We can get in, go for a quick move, maybe going for it, getting it on the last second, get this Dragon Tail off, and get the Drapion out of here. Drapion is going to shield because it wants to try and apply that Crunch debuff. Tamagotchi knows he doesn't have to shield a thing here. Going for that Crunch. Did they get the debuff? No debuff, man! The luck that this man is getting in these games, my goodness, what RNG. Nah, it's all 100% chances here. Get into the next game. We have Guzzlord and oh, the bad luck begins. Oh, it's algorithm time, baby. All right, get into the Golisopod is a safe swap here. Opponent has to have Swift in order to do any meaningful damage to you. Oh no, dude, no. Oh, not the Zygarde, bro. Get this thing out of here. I miss my Zygarde low-key, bro. We get the defense drop though. That's pretty dope. Opponent's forced to go for Crunch in this matchup, and I think Tamagotchi can flip this. I wonder if he probably agrees. He's going to go ahead and guard the Crunch with the shield, and he gets the defense drop. No, oh, it's all coming back. It's all full circle. Defense drops, Clefable leads. It's all terrible, man. Here comes, all right, opponent throwing on alignment, trying to get this move off before Tamagotchi can get to a move. Does the Crunch KO? It does, unfortunately, and Guzzlord can come in, and it can actually tank this Crunch and not worry about it, but unfortunately, it's not going to make too much of a difference here, as Clefable is going to be a problem for the Guzzlord regardless, so we're going to have to try to win the game along with this Tentacruel. Opponent going in, they have the Gator. Baby, it's Tentacruel time. Get that Gator out of here. Let's see if the opponent decides to respect the Sludge Wave here, as most Tentacruel are not running it. They usually run Blizzard or Acid Spray. You won't see very many Tentacruels out there running Sludge Wave, so this is very likely to not get the shield, and it does not. The opponent not shielding at this point. Okay, we're gonna let it happen. I think that you're still well out of Swift range here in the Clefable, and you just go for as many jabs as you can. This is where you get to see what move they have. The opponent going to go for the Meteor Mash or the Swift. They go for the Swift. They do have a Swift loaded, though, but now they know you have the Sludge Wave. Do they respect the damage, even though it wasn't built up? We get the damage off, and that's going to be really huge. Can this Tentacruel get to the next move? That will be game deciding here, I think. The opponent's going to go for the Swift, and they probably have two. Oh, no. All right. Now, the opponent is likely energy dry here. Can Guzzlord get to the 3 moves that it's going to need? Probably not, but let's find out. Guzzlord's going for the Brutal Swing. How much damage does this do? Brutal Swing not going to be enough to get the damage that is needed for the KO. Oh, because I'm pretty sure they're at the Moonblast right now. If this isn't enough, this is game over. Guzzlord wishing it had Sludge Bomb before it goes down to the Swift, and that's going to be a good game. Unfortunate. Just one move, and the opponent's like, you know what? I don't even need a Swift. I'm going for the Moonblast. Get out of here. Good game. Tamagotchi drops his Guzzlord into a Golurk in the next game, and this is pretty okay here. I wonder... So the opponent's going to immediately switch, and in comes Golisopod. If the opponent has the Primeape in the back, as some people are running some sort of, you know, anti... I don't even know, dude. I don't even know what anti... I don't even know what anti-lead... I guess you want to run some sort of anti-charm, which Golurk really isn't. So they're running a double Ghost team so far, which would have a really, really bad time with most other things, right? Like, all right, anything with flying typing, we're just done. But anyway, Rage Fists are going to start adding up, but the counters are not going to add up enough, and Golisopod is going to be able to get to double Aerial Ace here. The opponent is going to put up a shield or lose this matchup, and they decide to let the shield go and get the Brain just had an aneurysm in the middle of that sentence. The Annihilape decides to let it go, and then in comes a Drifblim, and this is just game over at this point. We have a Tentacruel that can get up to a Scald, and then Guzzlord can come in, get the damage it needs, or the Guzzlord can simply just pop in right now and get this Brutal Swing off into this Drifblim. We catch the Shadow Ball? What a dirty move, dude! The nasty. He just did him so dirty, man. Catching that Shadow Ball was clutch. Brutal Swing gonna get the Drifblim extremely low. Opponent unable to get to a move, and it seems like they've quit as they are no longer tapping. That's going to be a good game. My goodness. Next game, we got Guzzlord into a Guzzlord. This is a mirror lead. Going to come down to IVs in this one, but again, most Gators are running Feraligatr, or most Guzzlords are running Gators in the back, and so now it's going to come down to who's got the Gator. Opponent lets the move go. Maybe they don't have the Brutal Swing. No, I think the CMP tie. That makes sense. So we're going to see if the opponent has the Dragon Claw. They do, and now they can just simply get farmed down here. Opponent's not going to be able to get to another charge move as the shield's down. Guzzlord is going to have to drop into the Golisopod as there is a Wheezing in the back, unfortunately, and the opponent has the Tentacruel. Tentacruel is a bit of a problem at this point, not gonna lie. Unless you get the defense drop, which we don't, this thing is only going to be able to do resisted damage in its charge moves. Tamagotchi is going to look to go for another chance at redemption here with a liquidation. Do we get that debuff? I don't think so. Nope, not in this house. Never, man. It's like the debuffs are now coming back. It's full circle, I'm telling you. Everything's going back to normal. As Scald not going to do a lot of damage. Thankfully, no debuff on the Scald here, but in comes Guzzlord to try and chip away at this Tentacruel. Tentacruel hanging on. It will not go down, but the opponent is going to decide to give a shield up, and then the Wheezing comes in to get the farm down, but Tentacruel is more than happy to come in and deal with this as we got rid of the Guzzlord. Opponent has a Tentacruel with very low HP, and the Tentacruel that Tamagotchi has can easily clean this game up. Opponent also CMP tying with the Golisopod that they do not win. And Tentacruel is just going to come in and clean this game up here. There's really there's really nothing the opponent can do here, unfortunately, as the only thing they can do is throw Brutal Swings. And this Wheezing, even though Brutal Swing is nice and spammy, it's really not going to get him very far. I would almost be expecting a catch here at some point. The opponent's only shot at a potential win con lies in a catch, but it's not really going to matter because at this point, Tentacruel can simply overfarm, get to a couple of moves, and probably knock out that Wheezing. Looks like a cap tie, no attack drop. Fortunate for Tamagotchi here. Scald is going to do a bit of damage. It's all resisted, but this is just a farm down, and then you get to the Sludge Wave, and that's pretty much going to be game over here for the opponent. They're going to be going to look to play it out, but the Sludge Wave is coming through. Scald wouldn't do enough, but if the opponent was able to get to one more Brutal Swing, they actually have a chance at a win here. But unfortunately for them, this Tentacruel is packing the second nuke in its moveset. Sludge Wave going to be able to take out the Weezing, and that's going to be a good game. Well played. Rolling into the next game, we've got Guzzlord into Ferrothorn. Huh? What? What are you doing here? That is a shiny flex of a Ferrothorn, though. Haven't seen one of those in quite a while. I didn't know people still played Ferrothorn in Ultra League, honestly. It's a good mon. It really is. Especially with all the Gators, the Tentacruels. I mean, this thing has a lot of good core breaking potential. I feel like not a lot of people probably have it built at this point. But Flash Cannon on the Ferrothorn as well. That's a call there. It's going to take 6 Bullet Seeds, though, to get back to the next Flash Cannon, by which time Guzzlord gets to another Brutal Swing and can possibly threaten the final shield off of this Ferrothorn. But the opponent does get their one ahead. It's the Flash Cannon. They are going to go ahead and commit the shield, but now we can get to 2 Brutal Swings here before the opponent is able to even get to a Power Whip. And now it's going to come down to if the opponent decides to shield, which they do. They really want to get this Guzzlord off the table, but Guzzlord's going to be winning this cap tie into the Ferrothorn, and the opponent's going to have to give up another shield just to try and get this damage off. So they do decide to let that go, and now the Gators here safe swap into the pod, and the Gators not going to have a good day with this team. And the opponent has a Dragalge. They are just running all of the spice right now. My goodness, I respect it. Bro, that is a shiny. That is a very pretty shiny. I don't think I've actually seen shiny Dragalge in person, dude. That is a very nice shiny. Not going to do a whole lot for the opponent, unfortunately, as they are forced to go for the Outrage in order to get a knockout here. Very well possible they go for the... Oh, they do! They send it! They full send it! All right. Clearly. Clearly the opponent and Tamagotchi are just on other wavelengths right now, but getting the snipe with the Guzzlord is dangerous. Opponent's forced now to go for the Hydro Cannon to knock out the Guzzlord before it can get to a move. But the opponent's going to see that there's a Tentacruel in the back and probably just get very, very sad that they brought Feraligatr to this game, as Tamagotchi is hunting this thing, and it's working out pretty well for him, I'd have to say. Tamagotchi is going to be able to go for the Scald. Did they get the attack drop? That is going to be the call here. Is this... It's not even a coin flip anymore. No attack drop, unfortunately, but now the Gator could get to 2 moves. A failed catch attempt would kind of ruin the chances of victory here. Can we get to a move? Going for the catch and makes it. Very, very nice catch here on the Scalicipod. Hydro Cannon is going to knock out the pod and going for the Skull for the game win here. Very well played. Good game. Feraligatr getting absolutely trashed by this team. And this is it. This is a good Ultra League team right here, if I had to say so. I know Tentacruel is an XL Pokemon, but it's one of those Pokemon that has become very much a staple part of the meta. So if you can make one, it doesn't have to be Shadow. Regular is actually a bit better in my opinion. You could make one. And the Golisopod is very good. You could even put your own Feraligatr if you wanted to, but Pod itself is very, very effective on safe swap. Has very good play into almost everything in the meta. So any way you decide to go with this team, you could probably have success. It's hunting Feraligatr, and that's truthfully all you need to do right now because, as you saw, almost everybody's running it. But that's going to do it for me for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.